Today, I have stood where once Jefferson Davis stood and took an oath to my people. It is very appropriate that from this cradle of the Confederacy, this very heart of the great Anglo-Saxon Southland, that today we sound the drum for freedom, as have our generation of forebears before us done time and again down through history. Let us rise to the call of freedom-loving blood that is in us and send our answer to the tyranny that clanks its chains upon the South. In the name of the greatest people that have ever trod this earth, I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of tyranny, and I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
Bring back segregation.
100% disagree.
Dead act. Bring it back. I want to know where I'm not welcome. Okay. Put them signs back up. Colors only, whites only. Let's do it. All right. Rip the Band-Aid off. Especially for a restaurant. Are you kidding me? Whites only? What do I want to do in there? What they got? Mashed potatoes, mayonnaise, hot dogs. Colors only. We got seasoning, turmeric, paprika.
Okay, I like this.
Okay.
You're saying that the black excellence.
Absolutely.
The segregation is to get
the colored excellence.
Okay.
Okay. What's the playlist in the whites only spot? They playing Carrie Underwood and Kid Rock. We playing Babyface and Diggable Planets. Ain't no overhead lighting. What are you talking about?
Wait, where am I going?
Colors.
Hell yeah.
Look at his hair. Talking about where am I going? That's the problem with North Africans.
That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. I'm in. 100% agree. Let's go.
Talk about where I'm going.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What happens to you in the summertime?
Where are we putting the Italians?
Listen.
I just want to know.
I don't need their food. I don't like tomatoes.
So they're going on the white side.
Black people spend over $1 trillion a year. I would love for the government to force us to spend it on our own people.
This is very good.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
I brought you over to the side.
And the black airplane?
Oh, come on. The soul plane, baby.
I want to be a soul plane.
Yes, it's going to be noisy on there, but that's what noise cancellation headphones are for. You know what I'm saying?
And they're going to have all the good movies.
All the good movies, all the good music.
Oh, man.
And while we at it, bring back sundown towns. They never left. But
what's that?
Well, a sundown town was back in the day during Jim Crow, where black people weren't allowed to be in a town after the sunset.
Wow.
So those towns never left. They still exist in America, but they took the signs down. I want them to put the signs back up. I wanted to say 248 miles to the next town that likes colored people. Get your gas in Atlanta. Don't stop till you get to Savannah. All right?
I'm with her.
He with me.
So what's your take?
Bring back segregation.
Welcome to Let It Be Known. I'm your host, Stacey Brown.
Good morning, I'm Nielle. Welcome to Let It Be Known, where we amplify Black voices and bring you the headlines impacting and uplifting the Black experience. And you still laughing, Stacey?
Because Greer is diabolical. Because how do you get, what was that, George Wallace or whoever that guy was with this just nasty, hateful lingo to that hilarious subway ride right there? That was off the chain.
The pros and the cons. That's the pros and the cons.
Oh my God. yeah. That is classic New York too. But my goodness, here we are though. You know, we're gonna talk about that because here we are. Donald Trump. We're gonna get into it. I don't want to go right into it, but we will get into it. We have a guest this morning that I don't know if I should be looking forward to him or not, but we have a guest this morning, and we'll talk about the latest George Wallace type stuff that Donald Trump has pulled off again. But I mean, go ahead. No,
you go ahead. You want to ask? Go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask you before we got into that heavy stuff. Did you see Jess Hilarious just totally crash out?
I know, that was so juicy.
Oh my gosh. She will not have a job tomorrow.
She might.
I can't see her staying there. I can't see her whether or not they want to keep her or whether she wants to stay. I just see she's got to leave now. Because they're not going to, because Envy and Charlamagne ain't going nowhere. Well, at least Charlamagne ain't going nowhere. Envy might be a little bit more disposable.
But it was given Jess with the mess. And her news is real. So it was a little satire. I don't know. I still want
There's a lot of satire in there.
to, but it was given a lot of jest with the mess. It was.
Oh my gosh.
What's
She
interesting about this, Corey Holcomb, one of her
yep.
nemesis, went on a rant about her and Lauren and how Lauren is doing a better job than her. And then within hours or the next day, she comes out with this video. So I don't know if Corey Holcomb set her off, but I think that was a tipping point. You know how there's always just one thing. It could just be one thing, one little small thing. And then you're like, I didn't know you had all that inside of you. Because it
Yeah,
just
it's true.
came out.
But she made a point. It's the other thing that and I hope that I hope she doesn't get fired. Um, but she made a point that I think is overlooked in all this. Just during childbirth. I mean, she was pregnant. She gave birth to a child, and a lot of stuff was going on, and she wasn't kept in the loop on stuff. And you get any woman giving birth is going to always be a little extra emotional. And I'm not saying Jess is being extra. I'm just saying that you got to give her space for that. And I'm pretty sure when you look on the internet, as she said, and people are coming for you, and Charlemagne and Envy are sitting on the sidelines and not even offering the weakest of defense for you. And you work, y'all in the trenches together every morning. As she says, she grew up on that show. She was looking forward to working on that show. And I expect, for instance, like if they're throwing you under the bus, for instance, or Greer under the bus, one of us, I expect you and I to say something, right?
I've always seen Charlemagne advocate for this woman, though. He advocated for her to get the job. He's always shown her love on his IG when I watch him. So I don't know. But what I do know is that she brought up a couple of names. For one, Kendra G, who was a former Chicago radio host. So Kendra G stepped into the conversation because Jess brought her in, and she was talking about how she was up to be one of the voices on the Breakfast Club. And that same behavior that Jess is talking about when it comes to the executives, not Charlemagne and Envy, but the bosses. Kendra said the same thing happened to her, and she quit iHeart. She quit iHeart because she didn't like it. And basically she was saying the same thing happened to her. So Jess pulled a lot of what is her name? Angela Yee.
She mentioned
She
Angela
pulled her.
Yee.
She pulled these women in there, signaling, smoke. Like, this isn't just about me. This is about how they treat women.
And she gave a lot of love to Lauren. She gave a lot of love in
She
that
did, and
14-minute rant.
She gave nice, nasty love, because she did say she didn't like her either.
She said at
And
first
she's
she didn't like
doing
her.
too much. She said she's doing too much. Yeah, I told her to shut up. But then I realized it wasn't really about her. So that was like a side, love. But it wasn't right. If I was Lauren,
You don't think it was just her being honest?
I mean, I think that this is the difference between generations and how you handle things. I'm not sure that airing out now grievances a little bit, but she aired the whole house out.
She burned it down.
I think she gave too much. I think she could have teased it out. You know how they say in radio, tease it out? She could have teased it out. But to your point, it's like, how can you go back into a room and have positive energy and deliver a great show when there's so much when there's an elephant in the room?
Right.
When there's an elephant because there's clearly an elephant in the room amongst the four of them now.
Yeah, Orange G says, I'll sit this one out. I have no interest in the Breakfast Club, and I have no idea who Jess is. Also, iHeart is a big-time Trump donor. Can't trust it. he always puts it in perspective, doesn't he?
But
But
that goes to a generational conversation because this is one
yeah,
of the top trending topics on social media right now. Like you can't get past it. She kept us
yeah.
entertained all evening last night. You wanted to see every clip. She left nothing out. If there was ever a Just with the Mess segment, that was it yesterday because that was some
Maybe
mess.
they'll play it as a just with the message.
That's why I want to see how they handle it because I'm like, is this some Just with the Mess satire
Yeah,
or is she really done? But I think Corey
but
Holcomb
then
set her
she
off.
said her government name too, though. She wasn't
Yeah, she
playing.
did. When you, hey, I mean, did Corey set her off that bad? Because her and
Yeah,
Corey
so
Holcomb have had words.
yeah, well, Corey Holcomb has also claimed that Dave Chappelle is overrated and stuff like that. So it's like, come on, you lose the argument when you start like that. When that is your thing, your go-to right there, then you should just sit it out yourself. Come on, the man is who's more genius than Dave Chappelle? Come on, give me a break.
I mean, I love Dave Chappelle. I think he's like he's in my top three as far as stand-up comedy,
Hmm.
and intelligent comedy, stuff that
Hmm.
makes you think, takes you on a
Hmm.
story. But people are entitled. Some people like the raunchy,
Well,
uh,
right. But
yeah, the
one thing
Corey
they are
Holcomb.
entitled to is their own opinion. You're right, but your opinion doesn't mean it's fact. And I don't think that he's going to get three people to agree with him that Dave Chappelle is overrated.
Oh, I will. I know so many people. I've defended Dave Chappelle comedy with lots of people. Remember, I used to
People
run a
have said
comedy
he's
club.
overrated.
Yeah, I've used to run a comedy club.
Yeah, so I'm surprised to hear that.
Everybody is not a Dave Chappelle fan.
Well, I'm
Everybody
not a
doesn't
Dave
think
Chappelle
his
fan. I just think he's just maybe the most intelligent comic to ever walk the face of the earth.
well, that's what I'm saying. Some people don't get his comedy. They don't want a storyteller. They just want you
Mhm.
to what's the punchline? What's the punchline? They don't want all
Well,
that. They
see,
don't
it's over their head then. If you got to
yeah.
ask what's Dave Chappelle's punchline, then that means that you need to question your own
Yeah.
intelligence. Speaking of which, so I want to give you a little tidbit. We'll talk about Greer for one split second. Her mom dropped this tea last night that Greer was an enthusiastic reader of the encyclopedia.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
that something?
That is.
She sits behind the screen there with all this intelligence and she refuses to share it with us.
Wow, encyclopedia. Okay, see, that's another generational difference because this new generation don't know nothing about an encyclopedia. They know Wikipedia. I don't think they've even seen an encyclopedia before.
She said shots fired. I'm saying in fact, her mom said that, because her brother didn't read the encyclopedia, she said she thought maybe he had a brain problem or something. He needed an operation. I mean, this is how intelligent this young lady is, and yet she keeps that from us, that side of her.
Right.
She's a very private person, I guess.
Yeah, until somebody says something, and then she'll pop up on us, okay?
She pull up on you.
For sure.
Queens keeps on faking it.
But remember when you used to get they used to ring on the doorbell and somebody would be selling encyclopedias? Remember?
Yes.
Man, used to
Yes.
sell the encyclopedias, and then you'd have a whole shelf in the den full of
Danielle Pierce said she had a whole set back in the day. Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. Everybody seemed like they had an encyclopedia, right? The whole collection there. I just never read
yeah, but it
it.
was but every now and then for a school project
Yeah,
or
you had to
you
go
needed
into
to
them.
know something, those encyclopedias were there.
Two shelves, he said. Inferno says, two shelves. That's right, two shelves. Wow. Um, and speaking of Green's mom, she was at Dr. Chavis's event last night. We had a book signing. He had a book signing and discussion. I had the Busboys and Poets is supposed to give us the recording from last night. I had the privilege of introducing Doc last night. Nice big crowd. Of course, the best of food in DC at Busboys and Poets, and it was really, really a nice event. We had folks coming from everywhere last night, and what a discussion. He talked about, of course, the transatlantic slave trade, but we had a couple of extraterrestrial people. We had somebody from New Orleans, Orangey. She said her name, it was like she had like 20 names, and included in the name was the fact that she was a queen or something. And she started to ask her, he was talking about, the discussion was about, Black lives and Black folks. And um, she says that, he needs to consider the extraterrestrial to help solve our problems, I guess, is what she was getting at. And Doc, after she gave this long question about ET and stuff like that, Doc stood there, and I was wondering, it was one of those moments that froze in time where you like, okay, what is his response gonna be? And he stood there and he looked, and for some reason, Doc is about what, 76, 77 years old. For some reason, Doc got like 40 years younger on that question.
Oh my gosh.
It's like this whole thing came over him, and he said, you know, that's a good question. But I'm right now, I'm more concerned with the terrestrial right now. I can't be too concerned with the extraterrestrial. I thought it was a perfect answer. It was the perfect answer. I said, okay,
Wow.
you go, Doc. You go. I mean, I know Austin is into that extraterrestrial stuff and all that. So I mean, he's
But speaking
threatening
of
me over that.
speaking of extraterrestrial, the two astronauts that were up in space for months
They should
returned
send Jonathan
yesterday.
Majors and Meagan Good up into space and let them stay up there. But yeah, they came home. I'm sorry. Go ahead. When you
Yeah, they
said that,
came
it triggered
home.
it.
We're talking about Butch and Sonny. They returned to Earth yesterday after how many months?
9.
Yes. So good for them.
Wow.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I noticed her hair when she went in, her hair was black, and when she came out, all her edges were gray.
I'm pretty sure you stressed the heck out. 9 months out there and not knowing if you're ever coming home.
Right. There
Oh
they
my
are.
goodness.
Yeah.
Look
And it
at
was
that.
yeah, I think it was so special because when they landed, they were surrounded by a pool of dolphins.
So is she pregnant or something? I mean, 9 months stranded like that? Come on.
You know what?
I just want to listen. I'm up there stranded. If Sinead up there stranded with me, listen, I gotta be honest. I'm up there stranded with a halfway decent woman. She coming back pregnant if we coming back at all.
Hilarious. But I'm really interested to hear about their story of being in space for that long and what they were
Oh,
thinking. Did they feel
listen, they
forgotten?
had right, because it wasn't long ago, maybe a few weeks ago. I think where even the Trump said, hey, there's nothing we can do about that.
Mhm.
So his administration, somebody in his administration said that anyway, if it was him or whatever. But I do recall that vividly, saying, okay, so they might just have to, they're just going to die up there if they aren't already dead. So it's good that they came back, they made it back.
Right.
But wow, and
Good
yes,
for them.
I saw. I'm sorry, I saw that news. That's why I referred to Megan Good and Jonathan Majors. Apparently, they got married. Um,
Alle- well,
allegedly.
word on the street is they haven't confirmed it, but it all eyes point to that they are now
What's
officially married.
What's interesting is that the news comes exactly as news breaks. They somehow uh, got a audio recording of Jonathan Majors allegedly admitting to strangling his ex-girlfriend and physically assaulting her. Um, I don't know. If that tape is authentic, and the ABC News, of course, is claiming it is, but I don't know if it's authentic or not. I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in mainstream media. I don't know if it's authentic or not, but I will say this much. If Megan Good was my child or my sister, there's no way. I would have done everything possible for her not to date that guy at that time. I mean, she started dating him when he was indicted and getting ready to go on trial and stuff. And my thing was, no, you got to let all of this stuff resolve itself. Let some time go by or whatever. This guy, there's no way. There's no way. I probably would have been a lot more less nice about it than what I'm saying, but nonetheless, there's no way. And I don't know the guy. I don't know if he's a bad guy. I don't know if he's a good guy, but it's just too much drama
Well,
to
I'm
be.
happy for her and I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got him a black woman. And you
I would abuse a
know,
black woman. It's okay.
I'm
As long as he's
glad
black.
he got a black woman and they are a beautiful couple. I'm happy for him. And that case is over. So whoever's
No, I
leaking
get that.
information, who's ever leaking information, sounds
Mhm.
like some haters to me. We knew that something was going on with those two when the case was going on. So it's not surprising that the tape came out. It's not
Mhm.
surprising. We knew what it was a lot of aggression between the both of them. So it's over. They married. I'm happy
Mhm.
for them.
I just hope that Hollywood, some of her Hollywood friends or her family, for that matter, mostly, is not one day having to get a restraining order against this guy on her behalf. That's all. Look, it's just too dicey for me. Again, no indictment on him as far as me saying he's guilty or not. Whatever. He pled guilty to a lesser charge or whatever. But the man puts his hand on a woman means he's gonna do it again. 9 times and a half out of 10, he's gonna do it again. And that's just the way it goes. And so the girl, the ex-girlfriend was crazy. She got all types of issues probably. But the fact is the man strangled her, allegedly. The fact is he admitted to putting his hands on her in court. So he pled guilty. And that's, I'm not saying people are not redeemable. I'm just saying that you gotta really demonstrate a whole lot for me to be like, okay, you with my sister, you with my daughter. Nah. let's move on to something more serious anyway. So at the top we saw the Mike Wallace, George Wallace video about segregation. Well. The Trump administration, and y'all better start missing me with this black folks defending Trump stuff because uh, the administration, Trump has decided that if businesses and others want to bring back colored and whites only restrooms and colored and white only water fountains, Trump is good with it. They did a change in the administration's policy and in the government's policy, where the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. The segregation clause is one of several identified in a public memo that was issued by the GSA, and it affects all civil federal agencies. Let's call it what it is. This is a blatant, all the dog whistling is over with. All of the hinting is over with. Call it what you will, but call it what it is. This is a blatant trip back to Jim Crow.
Mm. It brings up the conversation of separate but equal. I know a lot of Black people have this argument that maybe we should be separate. Maybe we should have our own things and let them have their own things. And, we live in harmony, separate but equal. So
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting conversation to come up. We know from their intent, from the Trump clan intent, it is Jim Crow, but a lot of Black people would beg to offer that maybe this ain't a bad thing. Give us our land, y'all take y'all land.
See, I don't think
And
it's going to be, they don't mean
I
it to
don't
be
think
that
it's going to
simple.
be that. Like I
Yeah,
said, the
they
Trump
don't mean it to
clan,
be that simple.
I said the Trump clan does not have that in mind. It's Jim Crow. I'm saying
Mhm.
that the argument and conversation of separate but equal comes back up in a time where people thought that it never should have been segregation.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, this is him again, showing you better than he can tell you how racist he is. How his this idea of him being the least bit interested in the health the safety, the prosperity of Black folks, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And you called, I think, was it, yeah, it was you. You did. You called it. Remember, we showed that that interview he did, maybe it was late 80s, early 90s, where he said about Black folks and how, you could tell how threatened he was about for anybody
Smart Black
who
people. Yeah.
smart. Yeah.
Smart, Black, educated.
Yeah. It reminds me of that was, again, I mean, we talked about ragtime. That was one of the moments where the guy says, "You one of them smart N words," and it's like, y'all can have that again. So, and it's not. Listen, we talked about this, and we said we talk more about this. I know that there's a difference, or that at least I think there's a difference between Black Republicans and Black MAGA.
Yeah, and I think this is the perfect conversation to bring in our guest, Republican political strategist and commentator, Melik Abdul. Let's bring him into the show.
Okay.
When I see not all Black Republicans, but I see a Black MAGA person who is carrying Donald Trump's water and they know that he's lying, it is the shortest line to the front. Because if you're Black and you're whatever, you're just in line with a bunch of other Democrats that are doing the same thing that you're doing. But if you become a Black MAGA person, like, whoa, let's book this person, let's put him on television.
So you don't think you can be a sincere Black MAGA person?
No, I just said, I don't think that, I just said, I think there can be sincere Republicans.
But you can't be a sincere Black Republican?
I don't think that you can be a rational MAGA, be Black and be a rational MAGA person. I think you can be Black and be a Republican.
I think they would find that very insulting.
Well, I mean, the truth is often insulting. The same thing that when I see not all Black Republicans, but I see a Black MAGA person.
Okay.
That was an interesting conversation, but Don Lemon went on to talk about the difference between a MAGA Black supporter and a Black Republican. And so we thought this would be the perfect time, Melik, for you to join us to see if there's a difference, in your opinion, between a Black MAGA and a Black Republican.
All right, is it time for me to jump in now?
Yeah,
I think so. She's asking you, is there a difference?
Is there a difference?
Well, no. It's no much more a difference than people who supported Barack Obama or Kamala Harris and people who are Democrats. The fact is that it doesn't matter if it's Republicans or MAGA or anybody. There are people who come into this political space because of their support for politicians, not exactly the party. How do we know that? We saw that during the Barack Obama administration, where you had a lot of people who were on the Obama train who were not Democrats. They just supported Barack Obama. And then you saw in the midterm election, you saw in the his next election, the 2012 election, where those numbers dropped off. And by the time you got around to Hillary Clinton in 2016, people were asking the question, well, what happened to the Barack Obama coalition? Were they somehow Democrat? No, not exactly. So I think that people, much like Don Lemon, I mean, people use that as a slur. There is no difference between a Black Republican. Okay, well, you're going to let me finish, though. You got to let me finish.
I don't got to do anything, but let's.
Okay. So you invited me on the show, and if your intention is that you're going to interrupt me,
no, I just want to
finish what I'm saying.
Before I finish what I'm saying, we don't have like 2 hours for some filibustering.
Then I can just leave
because I don't want you filibustering. Okay. I don't want you filibustering.
Okay. So I came on the show in good earnest. You would Neil, you invited me on the show, but if this is what the show is going to be, then I can let you all have this conversation with yourselves, and I can just leave the show.
But if you're not going to,
we're gonna do this one or two ways. We're gonna do this one or two ways.
No, you're not setting the rules here, Melik.
Either you're going to allow me to talk, or you're going to cut me off.
We're going to allow you to talk. We're going to allow you to talk, Melik. But here's the question that I have. So
there's another question before I finish the first question.
Okay, you didn't let her talk.
Wait a minute. You gotta let her talk. It was relative to it, but go ahead and finish your thoughts.
No, I mean, you have another question. So now I want to answer your question since I wasn't able to answer the first one. So let's see if I can answer your question.
I think you were answering it, and this is in connection to it, because I've talked to MAGAs, Black MAGAs, and I've talked to Black Republicans, and it was identified to me that there is a difference. That a Black Republican follows the conservative traditions of the Republican Party, versus MAGA is totally Donald Trump. And so I really gave you the benefit of the doubt to be a Republican and not a MAGA, but you're saying
I'm both.
I'm both. Okay. So MAGA is mostly viewed, and they will listen. Mitch McConnell has drawn the line on that too. So you're different than Mitch McConnell then. But MAGA,
yeah, because I believe not Mitch McConnell.
When folks say MAGA, they are really talking about white supremacy. When you say MAGA, come on. We all know what "Make America Great Again" means. We're not blind to this. It's okay, Melik, obviously, that you anybody. Do you want to be a Republican, independent? I could care less. But let's not try to change the meaning of stuff. MAGA is simply white supremacy. MAGA is simply,
according to who? Who decided that MAGA meant white supremacists? Who decided that? MAGA or the people who were in opposition to MAGA?
I think MAGA themselves
as white supremacists.
I think their actions speak for themselves.
Okay, so does MAGA describe itself as white supremacists?
Yes, it does. Yes,
yeah, it does.
So when has MAGA? Because I've never seen that. When has MAGA described itself?
Maybe you haven't, but your partners in MAGA has, and. I haven't seen.
Okay, well, give me an example of a MAGA person who described themselves as a white supremacist. Who's your example?
Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller describes himself as a white supremacist?
Absolutely.
And a white nationalist. Yes, he does. Most
he
definitely.
Describes
He's
himself
a white nationalist.
as a white supremacist?
He's a white nationalist, Melik.
He describes himself as a white supremacist.
We said yes like 7 times now. We said yes 7 times.
His actions,
and his behavior. Or he describes himself.
His actions, his behavior, and he defines himself as a white nationalist.
He defines it, yes. He has said himself that he's a white nationalist.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay.
You're speechless. He said himself that he's a white nationalist.
What does that have to do with Black people? Because you asked about MAGA, you asked about Black people. Now we're talking about a white person.
Okay, so we want to flip it now, huh?
No, we were talking about.
I'm not flipping anything. I'm just pointing out. You're saying that Stephen Miller, who is now,
let me ask you this,
that's the definition.
Okay, you said
have you had a conversation with Stephen Miller about this?
I don't want to have
I don't want to have a conversation.
I really don't.
But you want to have a conversation. But you want to have a conversation with Black MAGA.
We're trying to understand when it
doesn't seem like you're trying to understand.
Okay,
anything. You've already decided.
Like you just want to talk.
If for you MAGA means white supremacist, then why am I here?
Why? That's what we're trying to get to. That's what we're trying to get to.
I was invited here. I didn't ask to come.
No. Why are you?
Go ahead, Stacy.
Why are you MAGA? Is what we're saying. Not why you here on this show. I mean,
because I don't draw a distinction. Because I don't draw a distinction between MAGA, Trump supporter, and Black Republican. They're all the same. So that's the answer to your question.
Okay.
I don't draw a distinction between the two.
So Melik, it's just like this. Slave owners had Black folks go run out and sometimes whip the slaves, have them go out and catch the slaves that would run away. That is the same as what you're doing.
Well, first of all, so what I don't need you to do or anybody else to do is to make comparisons. Okay.
It's the same thing.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to let you guys just have this conversation. Yes. Neil, thanks for inviting me. I won't be back. I won't be back again. I won't be back again. You want some nigga shit on your show, and I'm not going to give you the nigga shit that you do on your show.
Goodbye.
Dumb ass.
Look at that. Jerk. Idiot. Another idiot. I mean, what hole did he crawl out from under?
Well, I don't feel that way.
Yeah, listen, it is what it is. You call a spade a spade. and he crawled from another one of these low life holes. And again, why do they feel like instead of just answering a question and being reasonable, why do they feel like they got to filibuster the entire show?
Well, let's move on to some Let It Be Known quickies.
Listen, let's know before we do that. We got to talk about one of his slave owners' latest orders, and that is now the Trump administration has decided that folks living in 30 different zip codes and mostly near the border, instead of how you take out $10,000 from the bank and you have to declare that. Now it's just $200. You cannot take more than $200 out of your bank account without declaring it. Where are we going with that?
I don't know.
It's just incredible that we get here and get to see somebody like that play in our faces. And when this guy continues to do just the most unbelievable stuff, the most hateful stuff. You mean I can't go to the ATM machine if I'm in certain places in Texas and California and other states that are near the borders, near any border, upstate New York, near the Canadian border, which is Niagara Falls, Rochester, Buffalo. I can't take Cleveland. I can't go into my bank account or go to the ATM machine and take out more than $200.
Wow, that's insane.
It's more than insane. It is more than insane. But then we get a Melik want to come up and defend this kind of craziness.
Right. I mean, in order for us, conversation is good. It's a good thing to have.
People say that, Neil, and I'm not sure I agree that all conversation is good conversation. I don't think that Melik could add anything to the discussion of what we are trying to accomplish in enlightening, I should say, Black and brown people.
Well, we don't know because we didn't have the conversation.
I think we know enough.
But that's how you feel. That doesn't speak for all of Black Americans. That's just it. And that's the point of having these conversations.
Now, listen, I get it. I'm also mindful of his other conversations, the conversation he just had on CNN that again, because of his ridiculous, low-minded, earthwormy self.
See, those types of comments are not
because we
necessary.
have
Those
no
types of
time.
comments are not necessary to call people. We could say that behind the screen, but to be, journalists and speaking of situations, that's not what we say. It's just not.
Okay, but here's the thing. Why even bother covering someone like that?
Because he represents the administration that we're talking about, and so it's just good to have these conversations, regardless. What I don't agree with what Melik says,
I know you
but it
don't.
doesn't mean that I can't have a conversation with the guy and get his take. As a Black person, I'm interested. As a Black person, I'm interested to hear what he has to say about this ban, about Trump.
He came on like he was a queen, right? He came on like the Queen of England.
Well, word on the street might be out about how Republicans get treated on this show. So he might have came in hot because word on the street is that
they gonna cover you. MAGA. not Republicans, MAGA. And even MAGA. I mean, we could possibly have a conversation if they answer the question. Just answer the question and without who cares about, okay, there's no question that there are Black folks who probably never voted before who voted for Barack Obama when he ran the first time, right? But this is a major difference. And here's one of the major differences. We'd never seen anything like it before. Even when Jesse ran, you didn't have that type of enthusiasm that Obama had when he ran, obviously, because he won.
Mm-hmm.
And you really felt when Jesse ran, none of us believed Jesse could win. Jesse was really running for delegates. For a seat at the table is what Jesse ran for, not necessarily. And Jesse Jackson will tell you that himself. He didn't necessarily run to be president. He didn't think he'd have loved to have won. Yes, he didn't think he was going to win, but he accomplished so much in running because he accomplished the fact that he was able to get all these delegates, and then he carved out a seat at the table for a Barack Obama to later be successful. And so when Barack Obama came along, I remember, and I lived in New York at the time. I remember folks in New York when he was Senator Obama being enthusiastic about him. And I'm thinking, he doesn't stand a chance. And you heard him speak, and you're like, wait a minute. Maybe he does stand a chance. And so folks, for him to come in and try and go back to Obama, it has nothing to do with the difference between a Republican and a MAGA. It has nothing to do with that. He could have said, like I said,
but in a sense, he
folks
does have a point. He does have a point because a lot of people voted, a lot of Black people voted for Obama and they didn't consider themselves Democrats, but they voted for Obama. So to that point, I'm not agreeing with him, but he does have a point. Some people voted just because of Barack Obama.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. But again, we're talking, and when you pointed out 7 times that Stephen Miller himself describes himself as a white nationalist, he wouldn't accept that. And that is the underlying problem with MAGA folks, whether they Black or not. The underlying problem, not all of them, because many of them claim it. They will claim it. Yes. Look at Charlie Kirk. He claims it. Like you said, Stephen Miller claims it. Stephen Bannon claims it. These guys claim it. And for you to sit there and say, for him to sit there and say, have you heard them say? Not only have they said it, and we've tried to articulate that to them. Not only did they say it, they show it. And you cannot tell me, you sit there and look at these policies and not say that that is racist. It is a supremacist policy. What in the world are we talking about here? When Greer played the clip, Governor Wallace. What's the difference between Governor Wallace and what we see today? And I agree with Mike V. When we talk about Obama, that was a once in a lifetime thing. And so that's why I saw folks that I never in my life thought would even get involved in the political system, jump in there and pull for Obama. Because it was so unique. Now this is unique in a different way. This is modern day Jim Crow.
Something you never thought you'd see again in this lifetime. But here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Oh boy. That's why it's that, and that's really the bottom line as to why it is very difficult to sit and listen to something like that when it's like, come on, where are we at right now? Where are you guys at? What is your, they can't answer when you ask them a question something like, okay, what's your end goal? They turn it back to, oh, you've been, the Democrats. No, okay, I can care less about Democrats. I'm not going into the ballot box and pulling nothing for the Democrats. Heck, right now, you'd be hard pressed to find a Democrat that want to vote for a Democrat. They're so angry with Democrats. Anyway, go ahead, Neil. Do your thing. Do your quickie.
All right. Well, yeah, I think it's time to switch moves. And so March Madness starts today. It starts today. And so the brackets were revealed this weekend. However, women's basketball is at the highlight, and everybody's paying attention to that. And so the 4 seeds, did you see who the 4 seeds teams were? We had USC, we had Texas, and we had UCLA taking the overall seed. And check out what Don Staley had to say about not being the top seed. Greer, can we get that clip? The link is there.
Okay, we want to know what Dawn Staley had to say.
Yeah, she was upset. She was very upset. And so was the coach at USC, because they both thought that they deserved the overall seed, but it went to UCLA. So I'm sure the ladies are gonna hit the court and ball out. We have Flau'jae on the show, and she's gonna be in the mix.
Well,
and so go ahead.
So here's what Dawn Staley's team and USC needs to do as well, is just go out there and show why they should have been the number 1 seed. That you can show them better than you can tell them.
I think so too.
And a Dawn Staley coach team is always going to go out there and give you maximum effort anyway. So they could be the 10th seed. They could be the 8th seed, but they are going to go out there and perform. You got to bring your A game to beat a Dawn Staley coach team, especially in the tournament.
Well, I think USC has what it
any
takes.
Other overall number 1 seed. We outdid ourselves even from last year with the amount of quality wins that we had. But I guess the committee was looking at something else.
Overall thoughts on the draw and the possible matchups?
Whether we were the number 1 overall seed or not, the draw is the draw. I mean, we're gonna play each game like it's our last, and hopefully that leads us to a place hopefully everybody in this room wants us to be.
Going into this, what was your gut feeling where you'd end up versus how it played out?
My gut was the number 1 overall seed because we put the work in. That's what my gut gives me. But man says otherwise. And I don't really put my faith in man. And so we'll play with it. We'll play it. We'll play the cards that we've been dealt.
Dawn, does it help that there could be potential matchups?
One of the problems with the not getting that number 1 seed is and I'm glad she said that. She said they played their butts off. When you play your butts off, as she says, there should be some reward for that. And the reward of the number 1 seed is not just to say that you're number 1, you're the number 1 seed. It's because of where the region that they put you in. And of course, the teams that you play against. And the thing is, let's face it, you can use in an NCAA tournament, it's not often that the Cinderella team makes it all the way, right? And that's because it's set up that the number 1 seed has the easiest path to the Final Four. And it should be that way because, again, as you say, you earn it.
Right.
You earn it. And they feel like they earned it. Like, to your point, USC felt like they earned it as well. So that's why it becomes an issue. I believe that Dawn Staley and I'm pretty sure USC feels the same, that they can beat anybody.
Right.
So we'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm just ready for it on Friday.
You've been excited about this this tournament for quite some time now.
Yes, and I'm ready for the girls to ball out. I know the men start tonight.
And
And
nobody's
so
really paying attention to them.
no, I don't even know who's playing. I don't. I know that UCLA they did a what teams both had male and female in the tournament, and I know that UCLA was one of the teams. But other than that, I don't know anything else about the males basketball.
UCLA, and that's it, huh? True LA girl.
No, well, I'm all for USC though. I'm Juju Watkins all the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to see her go
You talk
all the
about,
way.
like you said, we have Flo J on, but Juju, oh my gosh, you talk about a talent.
She's like Kobe Bryant. She reminds me of like the female version of Kobe Bryant, all around, very disciplined, very focused. It's all about the game.
That's the
I,
one person who can pretty much you talk about the WNBA needing, they got Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese in there last year, but needing that real star, that person that star on and off the court. Juju, oh my gosh, where did she
she's
come
that
from?
girl. She's
She
that
is that
girl.
girl.
She is. And I also like Paige Buckner from UConn. I think she's a great player too. I root for her as well. I love that whole UConn team. I follow them on TikTok, and I like how during this time right now on TikTok, all of the girls that are in the tournament, they do all these viral videos, and it's just so fun to watch them. And so Paige Buckner is one to watch too from
Well,
UConn.
UConn for a while there was the powerhouse. I mean, they had a couple of undefeated seasons straight, right? Didn't they win like three championships in a row and a couple of undefeated seasons?
And
Um,
I believe that's where Gigi Bryant wanted to go too. She wanted to go
oh,
to UConn.
Dr. Marilyn Sturtevant says that her cousin plays for Iowa, A. Guyton, and she says that we are all proud of her, number 11.
I mean that's where Caitlin Clark went, right?
Iowa, yep,
Wow,
yep,
yeah.
that's right.
Iowa has some players too. Yeah, they have some players too. That's what I'm saying. Let's go. Let's go.
She's ready for the tournament. Oh boy. So
Yeah.
I know how you're gonna be spending your nights for the rest of the month until what,
Right.
April 3rd or whatever it is, the championship.
Tapped in, tapped in. But since we're talking about college, let's head on over to a HBCU. And congratulations to TSU's debate team, who won the 35th International Forensics Association Speech and Debate Tournament in South Korea. Now, from poetry to dramatic interpretation, TSU racked up 21 individual awards, beating out Vanderbilt and Bradley. Okay?
Wow.
That's what Donald
Okay.
Trump is worried about. The smart
And them
ones.
smart ones. Oh God. There was a movie, was it Denzel Washington, The Great Debaters? Was
Mhm.
he in it? Yeah, and debate. I was on a debate team.
You were? You were on
No,
the
I
debate
said
team?
never,
Oh,
never.
okay.
I was spelling champion for a little while until I was defeated, and then my spelling took a hit after I lost. I was deflated. You beat me in
Oh,
spelling
wow.
bee. But debate, I appreciate the fact that these folks have debate championships and stuff like that. I mean, it's not new. But what I'm saying, when you brought that up, it made me think of just how important it is, and how intelligent these young folks are. Have you ever watched a
I
debate
have
contest?
once. Yes, I have once. Yeah.
Man, it is something to see.
The level
And
of
especially when
intelligence. Yeah.
yeah, and it comes out of these like real young, sometimes real little people. Oh my God, Mike V wants to throw some more gasoline on the fire. By the way, Neil, he wants you to bring Larry Elder on.
Well, I mean, I think we're gonna have to. I don't know if you can participate in any more Republican conversations. It just might have to be me and them because you can't
Me and
handle it.
them.
Yeah,
You won't
them.
be on you won't be on the debate team.
You can't handle it. You can't handle the conversation.
I don't think they can. I
Yeah,
just can't
they
handle
can. I
stupidity.
mean, sometimes it's good to see. Sometimes it's good to let people see the ignorance or the. I mean, I'm not afraid of the conversation. I wanted to hear what he had to say about the segregation conversation. So then you could see let the people decide the contrast.
I think they did. I think we saw a lot of people writing in to get this guy out of here. So it's like and and I don't think that they are don't want to hear different points of view. I just think that people are worn out. And I think that
I disagree. Those conversations are the most popular. Those conversations are the most popular. I'm just saying. But
well,
let's
David
move on.
says let them embarrass themselves. He's with you.
That's what thank you, David. Let them embarrass. Let us as the journalists have the conversations and
But you know what they do though? Each of them have done this. What we not gonna do? You're not gonna come in here and dictate. That's what
But they're not
Don't come
dictating.
here.
All they're telling you is what you're not gonna do is
And you can't
sit
do
up
that.
there and put
You're not gonna do that.
and you
You can't do
call
that.
them names.
I did not until you
Yes,
left.
you did. You called him several names, and it's
I
not
did.
funny.
I did.
Yeah, you did. But let's move on. This is on a happier note. I think everybody's going to be excited about this. It's just announced the Queen's tour. Okay, so get your coins ready.
Oh
So you
yes.
got 4 legends, one stage featuring Gladys Knight, Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, and Stephanie Mills. If that's not a lineup, I don't know what is.
I hope Shaka is gonna bring the goods. I hope it's not a repeat of.
No, you don't want her to bring the goods. We don't want her to bring the
Okay. You don't
goods.
want her to bring the goods.
We just
It's
want her to
interesting to
come
see
and
these 4.
sing.
Yeah, it's really good to see these 4 icons come together for a concert. Patty will do her yelling, and she'll have people take a shoe off and rub her feet. Stephanie will blow the house down. Gladys Knight will be Gladys, and Shaka Khan will be Shaka. Stephanie Mills is still on such a different level, though.
Right.
She up until a few years ago, it was like she was the forgotten child, and she just, I give a lot of credit to Amp Harris, her manager. He really, really hung in there with her, and I think that when you are treated the way Stephanie was treated, I think that not the ego, but your esteem takes a hit.
Mhm.
And I think Amp really had to dig deep with her and let her know, no, you are the voice. You are all that. And I think she really he got her to buy in, and she's not looked back now since the pandemic. Really is when she really started to make her big comeback, if you will. And good for her. She's back on Broadway again. She went back on Broadway again, and she's everywhere now. She's been on tour, and I love seeing her with her son. Her son is he has a developmental disability, but he is, when she came to perform for the Black Press, her son was with her as well. And, she said she takes him everywhere, which is absolutely fantastic. But she is, that voice, wow. There's not too many voices like her.
I'm excited about this tour. I think it'll be here in Los Angeles on Mother's Day. So I think that's what I'm going to do for my mom. We're going to go see the Queen.
That sounds really good. So do we know how long they'll be out on the road?
Yeah, it's like just maybe a 3-month tour. It kicks off in May and it ends in June, I believe, in June. Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, you can't keep. I mean, let's not forget there are elders as well, so they can't be out on the road that long. They got, they're not belting out them songs every night.
Well, I think Gladys does it really well, and I think Diana Ross does it well too, understanding they're not 25 years old anymore.
Right.
If you ever see Gladys in concert or Diana Ross in concert, I think they really take a breath. I think they allow their backup singers to work.
They take their time.
And they take the time. And certain notes that we have come to love them for, they don't try and hit them the way they
Right.
used to hit them.
They let the
They
backup
understand.
singers hit it.
That's right. That's right. And it takes a lot for someone like a Gladys Knight or a Patty, or Dinah Ross, of course, Shaka, to give way to the backup singer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have to put their egos aside.
Right. Yeah.
And from what I've seen, Gladys, especially Gladys and Diana Ross, they have done that in a way that is extremely commendable. So
Yeah. Charlie Wilson is another one who is starting to slow down too. And so are Isley Brothers, who still has the energy? Earth, Wind, and Fire. They
yeah, well, how
still
is that?
have the energy,
How is that?
you know.
And the thing about them is that they give some of the most energetic shows, and it takes a lot to do an Earth, Wind, and Fire show. And
Right.
yet, like you said, they still with it.
They still with it.
Wow. Okay. Cool. I still when you talk about concerts, it's all about Prince. What happened?
Prince.
I've been to the
Yeah.
Prince concerts.
Yeah, I've been to a Prince concert. When he did his run out here in LA at the Forum, he had like a
Yes.
2-month run. It's like a residency at the Forum. Tickets were so cheap. You could go see Prince 3 times a week, and he would always have a celebrity there that he would bring on stage to dance with. I mean, it was a great concert.
The most iconic one is when he had to tell that Kardashian individual to sit down because she got up on that stage and he was like, "Get out of here!
You just can't stand here and be pretty. That's not what we doing. You got to
That's
shut
not what
the
we
tail
do."
feather, okay?
Yep.
Understand the assignment, Kimmy.
Told her right. He told her to go have a seat. And I was like, "See, even more. That's why that's my man." Oh boy. Let's not forget George Clinton because Orangey will not let us forget George Clinton. And what about JJ Fad, Orangey? Where they at? Where they at? Y'all hooked up yet?
George Clinton has a lawsuit out, right? He's suing his publishing company.
Oh.
Yeah. George Clinton has he's filed a lawsuit, and he wants his residuals.
Okay. Well,
for
there you go.
Publishing.
Okay. Well, we talked about that, didn't we, the other day, the publishing, and that's so it's so important.
Right. It says George Clinton sues former business partner for fraudulently acquiring 90% of his music.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And so he's filed a $100 million copyright lawsuit.
Woo. 90% too. Wow. Oh, Mike V says Orangey is waiting for Oakland's 357. I haven't heard that name forever. Oakland's 357. That is hilarious. He went back for that one.
Right.
Wow.
MC Hammer days.
Yeah. What's up with him?
MC Hammer?
Yeah. What's going on with MC Hammer these days?
I have no idea.
Neither do I. We gotta find out. Now we gotta find out what's the latest with MC Hammer. It might be Hammer time again. Let's check it out. I was never into MC Hammer, but I always appreciated his talent.
He had his time. Remember when there was the Budweiser Superfest?
Yep.
It would travel all across the country. I remember when he was one of the headliners. It was him, Patti LaBelle, New Edition.
Yeah.
That was, those were the good old days.
Yeah, I saw Montel Jordan, LL Cool J, Patti LaBelle. There was a couple other acts at the LA Coliseum I think it was like 1998. It was 1998 for the Budweiser Superfest. So yeah, it was.
Those were some good times.
What's going on with the exchange? Muriel Bowser. Who did she have an exchange with? Oh yeah. So Sam Collins of the Washington Informer covered this, and in fact, he was there. I think he even filmed the confrontation. We remember that a couple of weeks ago, the Trump he pardoned those officers that killed this kid, and here's what happened.
I tried to talk to you. I tried to ask you. I'm asking you again. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Do not put your hands on me. Do not put your hands on me. Did you tell President Trump that Quran is illegal? Do not touch me. You didn't tell him that. Okay. When he said that, did you tell him that? Do not touch me. Do not put your hands on me. Do not put your hands on me. You did not tell him that. Did you let him know that the pardon of those officers are unconstitutional? Do not touch me. Do not put your hands. Did you tell him that? I asked you before. Did you tell him that?
No, Ms. Hilton, I haven't talked to the president about your son. Ms. Hilton, if you would step outside,
I tried to talk to you. I tried to ask you.
That is sad. And I hope that Mayor Bowser did give her some time, or plans to give her some time. A sit down with her. It's really sad. This is Kara Hilton, the mother of the late Karan Hilton Brown. She interrupted that press conference in search of answers about who misrepresented her son's residency status to Donald Trump. He pardoned those DC Police Department officers who were convicted for their role in Hilton Brown's death, and told reporters that he had heard that the young man wasn't illegal. Trump told reporters that he had heard that the young man wasn't illegal, as if even if he was, it means his life didn't mean anything. Bowser denied the allegations about her giving the president that narrative. I just don't where she got the fact, or where she got the idea that Bowser told Trump that he was an illegal, or maybe she heard it from Bowser. Maybe someone said, maybe Bowser said it. I don't know. She did say in that exchange she did not talk to the president about that. But there's some who believe that she did. And it is my hope that she didn't.
I mean, this story is new to me. I'm just now seeing it, but it just is reminiscent to the families we had on day before yesterday, talked to yesterday. Just Black folks being murdered by police, and that's a conversation that I would have liked to have with Melik. Like, how do you, like, it's stories like this that just make me wonder, how can you align with the Trump clan when he's doubling down on all of the progress that we've made to hold police accountable?
Yeah, and I can only say that listening to people like Melik on those type of questions, the response is always non-responsive in the fact that they'll say, well, look what the Democrats have done. Well, look, and without answering the question. I could just do a recording and play it back. That's what they say. And this is how they respond to that. A lot of these guys, not all of them, and I don't know that Melik is, but a lot of these guys are getting a check. And they're easily bought and paid for. And they're going to stick to the party line. And they're going to, because listen, who in MAGA? Look at Trump. He doesn't answer questions. He's evasive, intentionally. And you see his base do the same thing. Intentionally, these folks come on here, the Chicago Red folks, same thing, evasive. And and they're not going to. This is my problem. They just don't give you straight answers. Well, we've been doing this since 2016, as far as trying to talk to folks who are MAGA, and to get answers as to what makes you. It's like interviewing racists back in the 50s and 60s, saying, why do you hate black folks? And then they come up with the whole. It's like Trump did during this election. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. It's just nonsensical. And so I just don't believe you're ever going to get where would like to get with these people. It's always the whataboutisms, and instead of, okay, even when you give them that nod, you got that, but answer the question. And it's like he insisted he was answering the question when he really wasn't. He was filibustering, and that's what I call it, filibuster. But anyway, we don't need to go back down that rabbit hole. But this is a shame. And one of the things too, we had the police officer on, the former police officer. These officers and their unions, and in this case, that DC case, the unions and the police officers celebrated this pardon. They refuse to. This is where folks go left when it comes to law enforcement, and this is why law enforcement don't want to hear you, because they refuse. Even the baddest of the bad apples, they still want to protect them. You should, as a police officer, it would seem to me, you should want the bad apples eliminated. You should want I would think, Neil, if I was a police officer, I certainly would want the community on my side.
Right.
I feel like I would, because when I'm walking out in those streets, that means that if I'm really good to these people, or at least doing my job the way I'm supposed to do my job, they're going to have my back just like my partner's going to have my back. And when you are a target like a police officer, you want extra set of eyes. You want the community to be supportive. You live you go into those housing projects and stuff like that. The worst thing is to have everybody as your enemy.
Right.
But for some reason, these officers and their unions, especially their unions, when they don't, let me put it this way, and I'll end it here as far as what I have to say about it. When we saw what we saw on January 6th, because that was an all-out assault on law enforcement, and they still won't condemn. You got a lot of police unions who have forgotten that there were officers who actually, as a result of the January 6th, they died. Complications resulting from January 6th.
Right.
I think it was 5 or 6 of them who eventually died. One way or the other, they died. And many of them were injured. And we've seen the documentaries and the videos and everything else, and yet this is supposed to be the party of law and order. Anyway, time for some Black History moments. On this date, y'all, in 1619, look at that, 1619, William Tucker became the first African child born in the colonies. He was baptized in Jamestown, Virginia, and there are unconfirmed reports that he lived to be 108 years old. And also in 1939, on this date, the new Negro Theater is founded in Los Angeles, California by none other than Langston Hughes.
Nice. I love that. I love that. And I'm celebrating today for Women's History Month. We're going to be celebrating Jackie Moms Mabley.
Moms Mabley.
Yes, today is her birthday, but we just want to highlight that she was one of the funniest and first to do comedy for Black women. She also appeared in Harlem Renaissance theaters. in several films in the 1940s. She was the first to appear on television in an all-Black comedy show Harry Belafonte produced in 1967. She was also on the Flip Wilson Show, the Smothers Brothers Show, and Mabley last appeared on a film called Amazing Grace in 1974. She died after suffering a heart attack. But after receiving treatment, she suffered a heart attack during filming of the movie Amazing Grace. But after she received treatment, she returned to the set. She died a year later on May 23rd in 1975. So today for Women's History Month, we celebrate the funniness, the life, the legacy of Moms Mabley.
Wow. At one point, she was considered to be the funniest person alive. So, wow,
So
Mom's
today,
look at that. I didn't know that.
Today, let's celebrate all female comedians that are doing great things, like the Cheryl Underwoods, the Moniques.
Monique. Can't forget Monique.
You can't forget Monique. Who else do we have that's funny out there? Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany.
Lunel.
Oh,
We
boy.
celebrate the ladies, the Black ladies that keep us laughing through all of this craziness.
Yeah, there you go. We started off talking about Jess Hilarious, didn't we?
Oh yeah, she's funny. She's just with
she's
the
hilarious.
mess, and she got a
Just
lot
with
of
the
mess
mess.
going on right now.
Oh gosh, wow! It's gonna be interesting to see what
How
comes
that
of that. Like
show,
you said, how
yeah.
that show goes. Yeah. The newspaper of the day is the Inglewood Today, staying out there in Southern California. Is a trusted and reliable source of information that has been serving the community of Inglewood, California for the past 31 plus years. Inglewood Today stands as a beacon of truth and positivity in the vibrant city of Inglewood, committed to delivering fact-based news. The outlet takes pride in presenting stories that inform and uplift the community spirit. Inglewood Today is our Black-owned newspaper of the day.
Nice, nice. You definitely want to keep up with them as the Olympics and the World Cup is coming to Inglewood. So Inglewood Today will have all of the information about the Olympics, World Cup, Super Bowl's coming, All-Star, all that's coming to Inglewood because of a Black mayor by the name of Mayor James T. Butts. So shout out to Mayor James T. Butts, Black mayor that has Inglewood being the #1 entertainment center in the world.
Wow.
So that's pretty
And
cool.
I should mention this real quick. Speaking of Inglewood, speaking of Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Sentinel and Danny Bakewell Sr. and Kathy Hughes, her companies are part of the Brotherhood Crusade. And what they're doing out there is they're raising money for the victims of the Altadena fires, and they are helping folks rebuild and get back on their feet. And that is some phenomenal stuff that the Brotherhood Crusade is doing with Danny Bakewell Sr., the Los Angeles Sentinel, Bakewell Media, and Kathy Hughes and Urban One, and all of her companies together. And they're getting some real good commitments from Fortune 500 companies to also chip in and help. So that should be something that can continue to keep in mind when folks think about where your donations should go. If you're still inclined to try and help the victims of the fires out there in Southern California, particularly Altadena, that is somewhere to look, the Brotherhood Crusade. So great job.
Sharice Bremont leads Brotherhood Crusade. And funny story, Kathy Hughes, Miss Hughes called me to make that connection. So I have little to do with that. She called, she said, "Nia, I need to talk to Danny." So I was like, "Okay, Miss Hughes." So maybe we can get her on the show to come and talk about that.
Look at you,
the work that she's doing.
Put people together. Look at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's good. That's good to hear, because sometimes they call, I just make the connection. I don't know what happens with it. So that's good to know that the ball is rolling. And
Nice.
Sharice Bremont is doing some excellent work here with the Brotherhood Crusade.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's good to hear.
Yeah, checked her out, and you're right. She's doing some serious work. So great job out there. Again, it's, Black-owned media doing what Black-owned media does.
Does.
Shout out
Hmm.
to my cuz Lee Rand Davis Jr. Good to see you. Good to see you watching, and good to see everybody joining. Let it be known this morning. Neil, it's going to be another day tomorrow, but we got something coming up right at this evening.
Oh yeah. So today at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Instagram, we've been covering this week. We have two families from Tennessee, two deaths within a week by one law enforcement, and we're talking about the Knoxville Sheriff's Department. So a young man, 17 years old, by the name of Davion Montez St. German, was murdered at the hands of the Sheriff's Department. So his parents will join us at 6 o'clock to tell us how they are continuing to say his name, keep his name alive, and seek justice for him in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we'll be doing that. And of course, for the latest in Black news and headlines that are impacting the Black experience, you always want to visit blackpressusa.com.
Thanks for watching. Let it be known. We'll see you at 6 o'clock today, and then, of course, tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time. See you tomorrow.